Maybe you should go and do some contemplating.
Right reasons, right reasons. Being for the girl for all the right reasons. Right reasons, right reasons. Being for the girl for all 4 reasons.
I'm the Bachelorette and I'm rapping to your poolside. Here to find true love, one man from a
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hello, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is Rose Buddies.
Welcome to a very professional episode of Rose Buddies. We've gathered here in our high-tech recording studio. This is where James Taylor, not that James Taylor, the real one, recorded his famous album, Girl, I'm Feeling It Tonight. We've gathered here. We paid $200,000 for the studio space.
What are you doing right now?
I just sort of explaining our surroundings. It's sick as hell. They got big old golden records up on the wall. No idea what that's about.
Normally you would tell people what the show is about.
Oh, right. I just wanted to explain first the weird place that we're at, that we paid a lot of money. Why would we pay $300,000 for this space if we didn't want to tell people about it? Anyway, this is a show about the Bachelorette Canada. It's important you know what country the TV show is from. It's the Bachelorette, and it's Canada, baby. From
now on, should we say the Bachelor United States?
I think it would probably be good and America normative if we explain. This is America. This is Bachelorette USA edition.
I feel like you're coming in kind of rusty this week. You a little worn out?
I'm a little bit worn out. We are. We started watching the show at 5:30 or so, and I'm stone cold sober, which is not good for me. And we are also trying to get this recording in under the wire so we can go watch the debate, which I also very much don't want to be sober for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm a little antsy.
Okay.
I'm a little panicked. We'll find the groove, baby. We always find that groove.
Well, and I'm sure being in James Taylor's recording studio.
It's giving me the yips a little bit, because you know what's weird? Look right. He's fucking right there. Don't look directly at him, but he's right. He's in the bathroom, actually. He's got the bathroom door open, and he's just watching us.
Oh, so his recording studio is structured like ours, and
Very
that there
much
is
so.
also a bathroom in eyesight.
My office door is closed just enough that I can't see that beautiful toilet. What's wrong?
What do you mean? We're in James Taylor's recording studio.
Yes. Shit.
Oh.
Baby, I broke the illusion.
Improv 101.
The illusion's been broken. People thought we were really in JT's studio.
You got to commit to the bit, Griffin.
Hey guys, that's me, James Taylor. I just wanted to say you're really here.
What is it? I'm a Civil War general.
I've seen horrible things out on that field. Fire and rain.
Can we start the show?
Over? Today we watched episode 6. Can you fucking believe only episode 6 of The Bachelorette
And we're down
Canada?
to 7 guys.
We're after today, we're down to 5 boys.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
I haven't seen any teaser for Hometowns, but I'm really hoping that is part of the Canadian tradition as well.
I hope so too. I can't imagine they would eschew that. That would mean we have one more episode of 5 boys, Hometowns with 4. The fantasy suites, I'm imagining they do that. Although I don't know what the decorum is for that in the Great White North. We have 4 episodes left, tops. I don't know if they do a min tell all or anything like that. We have not been good stewards of watching the bonus, the main show.
Yeah, we
adjacent
haven't
stuff.
been watching the after show.
Although I'm barely interested in watching that for the Bachelorette USA edition. So,
yeah.
Let's hop on into it. It was a fair... Some of the dates this week were just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Just in and out.
Yeah, they're weren't activities. Gone are the Cirque du Soleil dates where they, do a little performance and take in a show. And none of that.
Now it's just drink this drink. Are you just here to party or what?
Sit on the ground for 7 minutes.
Sit on the ground for 7 minutes. And don't fucking talk to me. Will you accept this, Rose? I love you. I want to have kids with you. I want to have kids with you. Don't look at me. Sit perfectly still. I love you.
Man, I'm going to get up and talk to this guy. Don't talk to each other.
Don't talk to each other. Just look. Just look. No talk or touch. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the episode starts, we're in Morocco, 7 guys, and a bunch of them are sitting around talking about how they haven't had one-on-one dates, which I think is interesting.
It's weird. Out of these 7 boys, 3 of them haven't. Now, the show's moving at a nice clip.
That's true.
So maybe that explains it?
It seems weird, though.
Yeah.
That a bunch of the guys that did have one-on-one dates are not
there
around
anymore.
Yeah. So Noah welcomes them to Morocco and announces that there will be a 2-on-1 this week.
I forgot to pay attention. I don't think there was any interaction between...
There wasn't. It was the same like, Noah, when he entered.
Although they did seem distressed when they found out there was a 2-on-1 date, which would intimate that they heard him say... There's a 2-on-1 date.
Can I tell you? So I was doing a little research on Noah.
I know this. I was in the room while you were researching.
Well, no, this is a separate occasion.
How many Noah deep dives have you done?
So Griffin and I were watching particularly troubling episodes of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And usually after those episodes end, I need a little palate cleanser
Try to
before
cut
I go
off
to
the
sleep.
Walking Dead tap by like 9:30,
Yeah.
or else the dreams, folks, they're too spooky.
So I started watching Noah Cap videos on YouTube.
Just as real.
Yeah, which I would recommend. They're enjoyable. And then the other day, when I was looking for an image to post in our Facebook group of Noah himself, I found an interview in which he said that he believes his role on the show is to be Jasmine's, quote, guardian angel.
Interesting.
Which I thought was an interesting choice,
Her
right?
guardian ghost angel.
Yeah.
Her invisible, like angels in the outfield, invisible to everybody except Jasmine, and helping her do like sick ass baseball plays.
Yeah.
That movie still gets me so angry.
I've
when I
never
think-
seen it, I don't think.
It's a fun
Wait,
movie.
is Christopher Lloyd in that
Christopher
one?
Lloyd is
I
in
have
it.
seen it.
Oh, okay. Why would you lie to me?
Well, because I
then?
get that and Rookie of the Year confused because they came out around the same time.
And what was the other? There was Rookie of the Year, Little Big League. Was the
I
other
never
one.
sawhat that one.
That was where the kid became the GM of a baseball team. So many baseball themed kid movies.
And Sandlot was around that time,
Holy
too.
shit.
What was going on?
Angels in the outfield. Christopher Lloyd plays an angel, and there are several other angels that help the Angels baseball team cheat, as if God in heaven is just like, yeah, go down there and cheat for him for a while.
Well, I bet they had a good reason for cheating, though, right?
Yeah,
Were they winning money for a children's hospital?
Yeah, the angel Gabriel, the archangel Gabriel had 20 G's on the angels. Except, and then here's what's whack about that movie, and I'm sorry, but it just gets my hackles, is they make it to the World Series at the end, and the angels are like, sorry, we can't help out in the World Series. Those are the rules. So it's happened before? It's happened so many times that there's rules?
I'm picturing little elementary school Griffin McElroy sitting in the theater going, what?
I mean, it's bad enough they've been cheating the whole time. There are rules we can't do. Does that mean that every time one of the teams that makes it to the World Series is the angel cheating team, and the other one played it straight? And of course, they're going to demolish. They're going to crush them because they haven't had the crutch of angel cheating on their side the whole time.
Oh, sorry, guys. Spoilers for Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, they win the big game.
Oh,
They win the pen. It's not
that's
big
the biggest spoiler of them all.
That movie came out in 1994, so tough shit.
Okay. All right. So, Noah leaves the card, and Thomas goes to read the card. Does no performance at
Guys,
all.
I was stoked. I was so psyched.
Just gets up and reads it.
He says something like, all right, let's just get to it. Like he was quoting me last week. I was like a father unto a child.
I think the dudes are probably all pretty worn out from the travel, and maybe they're just like, they're not feeling as hammy.
There is a sort of casual camaraderie between these boys that I was really into. And they were kind of ribbing each other. Remind me to bring up what happens on the 2-on-1 date. Somebody says something that's like, wow, that's brutal,
that's
but it's
good.
also really funny and everybody laughs at it. So like,
Yeah.
It's weird to watch this season where obviously Drew's kind of an abrasive ding dong, but there's nobody who's just like making the experience miserable for everybody else. And so everybody's just like kind of palling around. Fuck, that's refreshing. Oh man, is that nice to watch.
No, that's true. That's true. So it's a solo date, and Benoit is the recipient.
Who has not been on a solo date before.
Yeah. And he's really happy to have this opportunity. And Kevin, who Captain Canada, starts to set a tone that he continues throughout the whole episode where he's just grumpy.
He's just kind of a grumpy
He's like, well,
guy.
Benoit, it could mean that she's taking you out because she's not sure about you and she just wants to make a decision and maybe
Right.
you'll go home. And
Well,
Benoit's like, whoa, okay.
Benoit, there's a long segment at the end of the episode where he tries to teach Jasmine how to say his name properly. Benoit, it's like a B,
Benoit?
like a soft U instead of an E. Anyway, Benoit is like saying like, well, I'm glad I'm safe from that 2-on-1 because the 2-on-1's coming.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're not safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. There's 7 people left. Nobody's gone home on a 1-on-1 date. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So Benoit meets Jasmine for a night on the town, but first they get dressed up in a montage that I imagine is drastically cut short.
Yes.
They're standing in like a clothing space, and he tries on maybe 2 or 3 things, and then they go. And that,
He
that
puts
was
on
the
a
end of
fez,
it.
and she's like, end of montage. I don't think it's a montage if there's 2 cuts.
But this whole date is her talking about how she just likes that he's up for anything. She calls him a French firecracker.
I'll say this about this television show and this version of the television show, and especially this episode. These dates establish the story of the date and like the character of the person on it, and holy shit do they stick to it. Like, oh, Benoit, he's just down for anything, but he's silly. I don't know if I can trust him to be more serious, and then just like repeat that 15 times
and that's
over.
his role.
This guy's sort of a loosey-goosey traveler, and this guy's more dependable. I don't know which one's right for me. Hit that shit over and over and over for 20 minutes. I'm not even necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but it was like...
Well, and it may be indicative too. Jasmine is a really good people reader, you know? Like, it seems like pretty quickly she can figure out what somebody's all about.
Yeah.
So that may be part of it.
My favorite date of this episode was the final group date, which... Just because, like, I feel like it didn't stick to that. Because by the end of the 2-on-1, I was just like, oh my god, just you've made the same argument for both of these boys 3 times already. I'm ready to move on.
So after they have their clothes, they go to a restaurant. It looks like they have kind of the whole floor of the restaurant. And Benoit's just happy to be there, as he is happy to be anywhere at any time.
And as if they heard my conversation last week about eating somewhere and then having performers come to your table, which somebody in the Rose Buddies group left a very nice Facebook comment explaining, like, hey, it's uncomfortable for us too. You don't have to stare at us or
Like, we
applaud.
don't expect you to be a rapt audience.
Which is fine. Like, I get it. But as if they heard me have that conversation last week and my own personal anxieties with the subject, 2 belly dancers come in to do their belly dancing.
One was more belly focused.
One was a belly.
The other had a
showing
tray of candles on her head.
Yes.
So she was more about carefully moving so that the tray and candles stayed there.
Benoit says that he loves this very sexual Moroccan dancing.
Yeah.
And to me, belly dancing has always seemed like the kind of thing where it's like, I don't know. I feel like you're not supposed to maybe comment on that. Because it's not. Oh man, I'm in the tall grass.
I
now.
went with Griffin to was it a Greek restaurant?
The Mediterranean place.
The Mediterranean place, yeah. And there was a belly dancer, and it's fun to watch Griffin navigate terrain like that because he like wants to look but doesn't look, but wants to look appropriately.
It's a great place here in Austin called Farah's or Farah's.
Farah's, in North Loop.
It's in North Loop. It's good if you live here. It's good. They do hookahs and stuff. They have a big outdoor area.
Yeah,
it's nice.
fun.
And the food's pretty good. And the woman who owns the restaurant does belly dances. She comes out and this dude like drums and she belly dances. And like I look and I appreciate it, but I also like this is not necessarily me struggling with whether or not like you're supposed to be like, wow, how sexual. This is like I'm trying to eat my kebab. And I literally can't. It makes me kind of uncomfortable to. I think that's probably just me. But I don't think you're supposed to say when the belly dancer's belly dancing, be like, "Wow, very sexual." I feel like that is a sort of a cultural breach.
That's just Benoit.
That's just Benoit, though. And yeah, I guess in his defense, later on, Jasmine eats a piece of watermelon, and he goes, yeah, eat that watermelon. And it's like, yo, dog, you're a maitre d'. You work at a restaurant. Are you just horny constantly? Like, oh, what did you get? Oh, we got the bruschetta. Oh, the bruschetta. Eat that shit. Yeah. Awesome. Rock hard.
Oh.
Squid ink pasta, huh? Nice.
So Benoit suggests that they get up and dance with the dancers. And then they both kind of play at learning to belly dance. And then, can I balance a tray on my head? And Benoit's like, no, I definitely can't. And then Jasmine's like, let me give it a shot.
She did.
And this is when Griffin started.
I actually said a silent prayer.
He was hoping against hope.
An angel would fly in, just fucking swat the tray off her head.
He really wanted that tray to fall over.
I didn't want her to get burned, obviously. Jasmine is my girl for life, and you know this. But it would have been extremely funny if the tray had fallen down and then there had been a minor panic on the set as they tried to extinguish a bunch of small fires.
What's a safe outcome for that, though? Like,
I'm sure there's a fire extinguisher. There's probably a producer who's in charge of safety who like has
just off camera, like holding a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, when we made the Mabim Bam show, there was a guy who like was in charge of safety on the set. He was not always standing behind the camera with a fire extinguisher, but I think they're like, what's happening today? Oh, he's got a bunch of candles on his head. I'm going to have a fire extinguisher ready today.
Yeah.
She does not drop the tray.
She does not.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, and this is when she kind of wants to get a little bit deeper with Benoit because it is always like so fun and sexual, but it's not, she doesn't know anything about him.
To this point, she kind of treats him like a stuffed dog that magically came to life, and she's like, oh, he's so crazy.
He brings that energy, you know, like he's down for everything.
Yeah,
that's his like tagline.
He's just kind of like a horny toy.
And so he talks about how he wants a family and how he's fit and she is fit.
That's the thing. He can't even. He was like, I want to have a family and I want to do activities with them because I'm in good shape and you're in good shape. And it's like, you can't even talk about like. First of all, Rachel, can I just say I'm really excited to have a son with you. I just really think we're gonna do a lot of activities. What? What does that mean?
Well, you know, sports.
I want to do
walking.
I want to do sport activities with you and our baby because you're so fucking fit. Like, he can't even, like, say things about having a family without being like, oh, by the way, still horny for this one.
And anyway, this is enough. At this time, Jasmine just wants to have a conversation with him where he's not, you know, being goofy. And this is enough. And so they kiss, and I noticed she very deliberately curates this kiss.
A lot of manual manipulation.
She grabs his face and kind of pulls him in and then kind of pulls away.
Yes.
And controls the duration and intensity.
She also, later on, he kisses her without this hand guard, and she kind of just gives him like 20%. Gives him like the right corner and then turns away smiling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to teach people how to treat you. And that is what she's doing. Yeah, you haven't heard that expression before?
You have to teach people how to treat you?
Uh-huh.
How about, no, looking at me. I'm the boss.
See, that's dangerous, Griffin.
Why?
Because then when you don't get what you want, you feel as if the person has, you know, betrayed you in some way.
Exactly. And if they do, they're cut off.
Who is this character you're doing right now?
Me, the boss.
So Benoit gets the rose.
He does. There's a lot of debate among the boys. You keep getting cut.
Yeah, the dudes do not think he's going to get it.
Yeah. I want to apologize. There's a very noisy cricket outside of the window. Really, really goofing up our bass line.
I don't imagine it's being picked up by the mic.
These are sensitive. James Taylor has extremely powerful, expensive mics. Each mic cost $100.
And like a cricket farm.
And he has a cricket farm,
yeah.
Which is weird. And a big old pot sort of operation.
Okay.
James Taylor, he just likes to party.
Yeah. No, I mean, I believe it. So then it is time for the next date card to go out.
You know that song, Would I Know Your Name If I Saw You in Heaven? The song's about like partying with drugs and just like losing your mind on
That's
dank
Eric
strings.
Clapton, sweetheart.
I know. James Taylor wrote it for him.
No.
I made a whoopsie. I said the wrong guitar man, didn't I? How devilish.
Okay. 2-on-1 date card goes out, and we start speculating. We think it's going to be Drew and somebody. Just
Yeah, I thought
just
it was gonna
because
be...
typically, and this is the way it's worked in past seasons, they pick somebody, like this past season, it was Rod and Alex. And it was basically like...
That's a layup. That's easy.
Yeah, it was basically like, I have serious doubts. I feel comfortable sending this person home. I'm going to give them one more chance, but I'm going to make it easy on myself.
Yeah.
But in this case, she picks Mike and Thomas.
Well, somebody picks Mike and Thomas.
Oh, you don't think she picked them?
I mean, who's to say? Who can say?
She does seem to be under duress about it.
Yeah,
Like-
she's bombed the whole time, and the date is, no kidding, gang, the pits.
Yeah, so this is, everyone starts talking about how they're opposites. How Mike is very,
A
stable.
homebody.
Yeah, they call him a homebody. And then Thomas is kind of the nomad. He's traveling all the time for his international modeling. And so they
I
recognize...
thought he was just in
Oh,
Canada.
no. See, that's where you'd be wrong. He's an international model.
That just means the different provinces in Canada, right?
No, that
You're
means...
telling me this guy...
multiple nations.
Weird.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know those people existed.
Yeah. He's like a Tyra Banks, sort of.
He's basically exactly like Tyra Banks.
Oh, do you think he's the next host of ANTM?
I don't know. ANTM... Is ANTM back?
Not that I've noticed.
Okay, we need to do some research. I think it's back or back very soon. I don't want to
How do
tell
we-
tales out of school.
I think if it were back, we would know who the host was.
That's a fair point.
Okay, so anyway, this is where the guys make kind of a fun joke
Oh yeah.
on Mike versus Thomas.
It was Captain Canada who says, well, this should be interesting. It's the face versus the body. And all the guys like crack up laughing. It was the same. Everybody like takes it in good jest. And it's like, it's one of those moments. And it's like, I like when people become friends. And it doesn't happen that much on this show.
No, I know what you mean.
Because sometimes it does. On Bachelor in Paradise, it happened. And it's like really sweet and nice.
Well, it's like those summer camp friendships, you
Yeah.
know? It's like Carly and Jade, you know?
And like these guys just being comfortable enough with each other to just like, it's the face versus the body, like simultaneously saying Mike has an ugly face and Thomas, I guess, has a bad body. It was, I don't know. It was, I thought it was very pleasant.
So their date is in the desert, and
There were flashes of Chris Soules leaving
Yeah.
Ashley, I, and Kelsey both to die in the wastelands.
yeah, that was the Badlands.
I think it was called the Badlands.
Yeah, because Kelsey was a proclaimed like expert on the Badlands, and
Yeah,
Ashley was not
that's
familiar.
good. She needed that knowledge to survive and chart a path home.
And so Jasmine comes in on a camel, and then the dudes each come in on a camel.
They each have like a guide, and they are not talking for the first part of the date where they're writing.
Yeah, like not just the guys aren't talking, like nobody's
talking.
And Jasmine's telling us a lot that, that she can see a future with both of them, that they're both so different and represent very different sides of her personality.
Get this, one of them, kind of like a rock-solid homebody. The other one is all loosey-goosey traveling around.
And she says this like maybe 4 different ways.
And to them also, like, you know what I like
Yeah.
about you is that you're a homebody. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, gang, because it was more or less all that happened on this date. She was very upset. She was sitting with them.
They don't eat anything. They don't
She
take
just
in a
sits and she's like,
show.
this is really, really tough. I really like the two of you a lot, and I don't want to send either of you home.
It's all business. And we've seen that more with 2-on-1s lately. That was the way it was with JoJo on the 2-on-1. Like, I found
Yeah.
a location. All 3 of us are going to sit here.
And
I'm going
that's
to
it,
take
until we
each of
figure
you
this thing
away,
out.
and then I'm going to make a decision.
Maybe they did that because it is genuinely like, I'll never forget. There was I will forget who was on it, but there was a 2-on-1 for a season of The Bachelorette where 2 boys were eating with the Bachelorette, and nobody was talking. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, I love this. What is this? Quinoa? I love quinoa.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
And
that
nobody corrected him
nobody
either.
corrected him. It was so uncomfortable because it was already uncomfortable because it was a 2 on one day, and then he just bricked one like that.
And so she starts out, she sits down with both of them. She already says this is really, really hard. She's already seems to be kind of upset. And so she pulls Thomas away first. And they're really struggling with the wind out there. So Thomas
It's like
has
we're struggling
fashioned...
with these fucking crickets, James! They're so loud, James.
They are very loud.
It's October, and it sounds like summer camp outside.
Thomas, the reason I brought up the wind is because Thomas is rocking a side pony.
Well, it wasn't. Thomas was rocking like a man bun.
Yeah,
but
probably.
The wind turned his hair into a wind sock, and then all of a sudden, dude had a side ponytail, and it was not a great scene.
It was really distracting for Griffin.
It was.
They were having like a very sincere, emotional conversation, and every time he would turn profile, Griffin would start laughing.
Straight up, y'all, like Saved by the Bell, like style side ponytail. Who is the girl on Saved by the Bell?
Kelly Kapowski.
Kelly Kapowski side ponytail. Thank you.
You're welcome.
More of a Boy Meets World man, and I don't think Topanga ever pulled that one.
No, I don't think so either.
So then she talks to Thomas. She's like, I really like that you travel. And he's like, I travel. And she's like, I think it might be hard to start a relationship like that. And I'm like, well, I disagree with that.
Well, so Thomas talks about how his life is very unstructured, but that he has very strong feelings for her. And she says, that she feels really connected to him, but is having trouble figuring out how her life would fit with his. And he's just like, I really want to take this with you to the end. I feel like there's really something here, and I would hate to miss an opportunity because, like you're really special. And it seems to be like he's got his A game going.
Yeah, no, he's saying all the right stuff. But I'm saying her argument was kind of weird, and that was, it's hard to start a relationship in this loosey-goosey, like, traveling place.
I think that's fair.
And then settle down afterwards. And it's like, I disagree. I think that's why they call it settling down. Like, you do the intransient,
Well, but he's talking about leaving the country for, I don't know how long modeling shoots go.
But that's her thing. Is like, she's got the word explore tattooed on her hand. Like, that's her whole thing. And that's always been like something she's been into about time. I don't know. I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, I guess that initial stage of a relationship when you're really excited about somebody and you want to spend a lot of time with them, to kind of miss that and immediately go to the hard part,
So then she goes to Mike and makes the alternate pitch, which is the thing I like about you. Is the thing that scares me is that you're so dependable.
Yeah, Mike gives a really good reason, I think, for why he is the way he is. He talks about how his mom was sick as a kid, and as a kid, that was a real bummer for him. And, he would have to choose to spend time in the hospital, and the one time that he decides to go to this pool party, she ends up passing away the next day. And it's kind of in that moment he decides, I'm not going to be selfish anymore. Stability is really important to me, and being dependable.
Did you take that story as, let me be careful here, him like cash in some sort of chip to like make a point? Because this
I didn't get that.
It might be about to get kind of weird, but like this is the first time that somebody's told a story on this show that I was like, oh, that happened exactly to me. Mm-hmm. And like I thought I was going to be pissed off, but like I feel like I was like, oh no, that explains literally everything about why you are the way that you are.
Yeah. No, I don't know what prompted it. That was the only thing that was weird, is all of a sudden he's telling this story immediately after Thomas has delivered this A+ performance. And so it was weird to see Mike be like, here's my game. But it didn't feel that way at all.
Yeah.
I'm sure what she did is she asked him, like, kind of like, why are you like this? Or like, you seem to be such a homebody, or, where does this come from? And we just missed that question because the way he answered felt very honest.
And it's weird to like. I mean,
And it
weird.
wasn't a cocktail party either.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like
point.
that kind of shit happens at cocktail parties all the time. Like
Where it's like your death row, like you got to get in that last.
by the way, Jasmine, I know tonight is the last night you might spend with me, so I want to let you know that I have donated a kidney to my sister.
Yeah, it was. I was worried about Mike, but I mean, it just seems like she was very, very, sympathetic to his story because she went through something, similar very recently.
Yeah.
I just like Mike so much.
I know, me too.
She picks up the rose and walks over to Thomas, and I think,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is a weird.
That's happened before on this show because I remember seeing that in a different season. Like they become so task oriented. They're like, now I have to give out the rose, so I'm going to pick it up now, and then wait. I have to do the part where I don't give it to this person, but I have it in my hand because the goal is to give it to somebody. So here it is, but not for you.
Yeah, it's cold, dude.
Yeah.
It's harsh. Because there's no part of your brain that thinks like, is she going to walk over with that rose but give it to the other guy? You see her walk over with that rose and you think like, aw, party.
Yeah, but as soon as she sits down next to Thomas, she starts crying.
I want you to know that I think you're great. Okay.
And then
bye.
we're like, oh, okay, he's not getting it. And he's a little upset about it. Understandably so. Because they did have kind of a nice moment,
Yeah, sure. Their date, as much as we kind of dragged him for the original soundtrack, it seemed like they got along pretty well.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. And I think he's starting to worry because he does say, like, I didn't realize that my lifestyle would be such a huge deterrent, but I guess that it is.
I don't know. It's hard for me to feel too bad for him because he's an international model that travels the world. He probably had another girlfriend before he left Morocco. He said something crazy at the beginning of the episode. It was like, Morocco, once you travel to enough foreign countries, it's just like you step in and you just know everything. You just know what's up. It's like, well, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a weird claim. He's just like, well, if you travel a lot, then when you're traveling, that feels like home. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's
I rolled up in
true.
Morocco. It's like, what's up? I went to Hong Kong last year. Where's the noodles? Oh, there's...
No.
There's... Oh. Do you guys do the crispy duck here as well? No, you don't. Damn. Okay. Welp. What's your shtick? I've seen Sex in the City 2. Was that wasn't you guys? Damn it.
You haven't seen Sex in the City 2, have you?
I abstain.
When would you have seen that?
I listened to a whole year of
that's true.
Worst Idea of All Time. I feel like...
You feel like you've seen it.
I feel like I've seen it. I've seen it more than people who have seen it, I feel like. I live and breathe that movie. We do need to watch that flick. We do need to watch it.
It's so long,
It's such an important
though.
part of my life, though. And it's weird that
You
I
know
haven't
what
seen it.
this is actually very timely because SJP came out today and said there's going to be a third one.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Tim and Guy, if you're listening, I'm so desperately sorry. You realize also, as a quick plug, I do a podcast that I've definitely never mentioned on this show before.
That's for sure you haven't
because we haven't
mentioned.
released an episode since this show existed. It's called Till Death Do Us Blart. Comes out every Thanksgiving, and me and Justin and Travis and Tim and Guy from The Worst Idea of All Time, which is one of my favorite podcasts, and you should listen to it. We just watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, and then we talk about it for about 2 hours. We talk about it for about the runtime of the series. You, if you're worried about catching up, we've done episode.
They did one episode.
So...
But their commitment is until they all die.
Get on board. Yeah, every time one of us dies, we have to pass the mantle on.
Yeah.
It'll go on forever until the heat death of the universe. It's very exciting.
I have no idea how to transition
I don't know
from that.
where we are. Sex and the City, Morocco, travel. Thomas is gone.
Thomas is gone. And so there's another date card. This is a group date. This is Drew, both Kevins, and Mikkel.
The card says that. Drew, a couple Kevins.
And a pizza place.
I'd watch it. Except we'd lose Mikkel. I would bounce Drew, switch it Mikkel, 2 Kevins, and a pizza place.
Well, you might just get your wish. Okay, so...
They don't get pizza.
So... the suitcase guy comes in, takes out Thomas's suitcase. And they all talk about, the departure of Thomas and what that means. And this is when Drew starts talking about how even being on this show will help him in his sales career. And like how he's already attractive and he goes into a room and he networks and people see him and they're like, who's that guy? And they want to talk to him and they want to learn more. But with this show, they'll see him and they'll recognize him right away. And then he also says, and I had Griffin repeat this to me because I didn't capture it exactly, that he's interested in, quote, mid to low level acting.
Which I don't know. I think that means like low level acting, I guess, is like, I don't want to say commercial acting because there are people who are out there on their fucking grind and they're making bank.
I feel like low level acting is just kind of like bit scenes. Just like, here's your coffee, Miss Sarah Jessica Parker.
Even that is like, you've made it, dude. If you get a speaking line in a movie or TV show, that's mid-level at least.
You think? So what's low level then?
I mean, like community theater probably. High school theater. I think that's where you start.
You think Drew wants to go back to high school?
I think, now that's a TV show I'd watch. Drew says some shit, dog. Drew, yeah, I'm really sexy, so I walk in a room, people are like, I want to talk to him, but after I've been on this show, this show's going to be great for my other real career, because, like, folks are going to walk in, they're already going to know who I am. And it's like, wow, rarely are people who are here for the wrong reasons so, like, transparent about it.
Yeah, the guys just kind of absorb it. I mean, maybe they were filing it away like a just in case, know, like if he seems to be a real contender, they can break
Sweep
out
the
this
legs out from
information.
under him,
Yeah. But they all just kind of let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And then it's time for the group date. And so the group date is in a kind of a street market, and then it starts pouring rain, and then the wackiness ensues.
It's like one of my favorite things about this show is how they adapt to weather. One of my favorite dates of all time was JoJo's season of The Bachelorette, where they just locked themselves in the hotel and
they played charades,
and they just watch
Win, lose, or
old
draw.
seasons of The Bachelorette. Like, that's my favorite date ever. There is no date I can think of that brings me as much joy thinking about it than that one does. This time, they went with this strange route, which is just like, guys, we need footage, do something. And so Drew was like, all right. And he just goes and stands in the rain and he jumps in a puddle. And Jasmine was like, I just like that Drew can get out there and have fun.
Yeah, like
he
Drew's...
jumped in a fucking puddle. Who is he, Calvin and Hobbes? What are you talking about?
Drew is the last person I expected to really go out in the rain and jump in a puddle.
Just play around out there. He went and just played around.
And then Captain Canada like picks her up and carries her into a puddle and then twirls her around.
Slams her into the puddle. Like slams her feet into the puddle.
And then brings her back under the tarp.
It was very much like Coco the gorilla just like figured out like, oh, that's how human beings have fun. I want her to have fun, so I'm gonna slam her into this puddle over and over again. It was really, really bizarre.
Yeah, well, it was mainly bizarre because at this point they have not done anything.
No.
They have walked to like one stand. It started raining, so they got some juice, and then they're just standing around, taking turns running out in the rain and running back.
She leads them all to their date location, which she says, this is great because you'll be able to warm up because they're going to a tea ceremony place. And it's like, I heard that and I was like, I guess so. But it's not going to... Tea doesn't dry your clothes. It's just more wet. That's the motto for tea.
Yeah, but it's
just
hot.
More wet. I guess so. I would rather have a towel. It's another tea word. That would be fun to have. Can we go to a good Moroccan towel place?
Oh, well, there's a rich history in how they...
There probably is.
Use towels.
You don't know. There probably maybe is.
This guy shows them how to... use the mint and sugar and pour water appropriately to enjoy the tea.
These were horse-sized proportions of sugar. This seemed like my kind of tea. I like it sweet.
Captain Canada is still grumpy.
Yeah.
He just hates being on dates with other guys and cannot get over it.
No. She takes Mikhail?
You say Mikhail a lot. It's Mikkel.
Shit. That was the first time I ever thought about it. Mikkel takes him and it's just like, guys, the sparks.
Oh, Mikkel. I totally get where she's coming from because every time she gets ready to see him, she has some kind of concern. Like this time she was worried because he was always kind of nervous when they were together. And he immediately explains why that's a great thing in a very succinct way that's very convincing.
They're just so great. They're just hitting it off.
He's like, I'm still nervous and I still get butterflies, and I just like, how do you exist? Like if there were more Jasmines out there, like we wouldn't be here right now.
That's an exact quote. I'm not sure what that means. Is he literally saying if there were other Jasmines, I would have found them first and I wouldn't be here right now?
Well, I think he's saying that she's like such a unique combination of all these good qualities that don't usually exist in one person. And so he's saying like, I've never met anybody like you before.
Okay.
And it's incredible. And she's of course just immediately just charmed by him because
it's good.
Because who isn't?
Is this your number one couple? Is this the number one Hollywood power couple right now?
Oh man.
I think so. I think it's good stuff, man.
Mikkel or Mike?
If you've got M.I. in there, I think you're good to go.
They're both just such solid guys.
Good boys. In different ways. One of them's literally solid.
And interesting too, not like solid in a way that is bland.
Yes.
Like they're a little safe, I'll say. Neither of them seems to have like a dark side or a
Mike
temper.
can do that mouth bubble thing. So,
and that's a dark side?
Yes. Because he learned that at Assassin School. The school for assassins.
Your emphasis got kind of weird there.
No, I didn't.
Assassin School?
That's not how I said it.
Okay.
I knew exactly the words were, and I just said them normally.
And so then there's more dudes sitting in silence and drinking tea.
Yeah, it's Mikhail comments on like it's uncomfortable because like these dudes are all super into it now, and so nobody's like chit chatting at these dates because they know what's happening. They're
all like psychologically preparing themselves. I feel like they're all thinking about like, what am I going to talk about? What can I do?
There's a funny bit where Drew and Mikhail and Kevin W. or the Captain Canada are just sitting there not talking forever. And then finally Drew gets up to go to the date and Captain Canada's like, it's nice talking to you.
Well, before he does that, he puts in eye drops and puts on chapstick. And then
he does a lot of prepping of his humors.
Yeah. And so this is where we realize that Jasmine is more on to Drew than maybe we knew before.
Oh, there was also a bit with Deckhand Kevin, where she brings up that she hasn't kissed him. They haven't kissed, which is you do you. That's weird for the top 7, like to make it this far in and have not smooched.
Yeah, and his big story is that he takes things slower, that he's more guarded. And she respects that about him, but it definitely is kind of...
This is a gambit that people pull on this show sometimes. It has worked out none times.
Yeah, usually, especially at this point, they go home.
But it's working, and I think it's actually pretty genuine, because, like, essentially, if you read into it correctly, you can say, like, oh, well, then he's actually serious about being here and doing this
he's not doing strategy. He's not like, I have an anecdote about myself that I'm going to drop now.
He's not telling me those anecdotes because he's like reading me first.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would ever work, but it's working here.
So anyway, Jasmine and Drew are talking and...
Well, Jasmine's not talking.
Yeah, that's the thing. So she talks about she tells us that he talks about himself a lot. And that everything he says is very calculated. So in this exchange, he talks about how, oh yeah, I want to be a dad and I want to be the coach and I, whoever I date next, I want to be the person I'm with forever. And Jasmine's telling us like, it's just monologue. There's no conversing here and it's hard to tell who the real Drew is. And she actually asked him at one point, like, do you have any questions for me?
And he like stalls her a bit. And she's like, this should not be difficult.
Yeah. And then it is time for Captain Canada. And he kind of explains how the group date isn't really his style. And she's trying to confirm with him, like, are you into this though? Like, do you want to be with me? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm totally homesick right now, and the only thing that would keep me here is you.
She brings up, like, is this just a competition for you? Because I know for a lot of guys that's not the case. And he says, like, no, I'm really into you. I would rather be home, but I'm staying here for you. Later on, he does a thing that, like, kind of makes it seem like he was going back on that, and really fucks himself up.
Yeah, he's a very jealous man.
Yeah,
and
which is I do not understand why you come on this show, my friend. You have to know what's up. I know this is the first season. Somebody had to explain to you the premise of the show. When you showed up, otherwise on day one, when you showed up, you're like, what are these other guys doing here?
I don't think people sometimes don't realize how jealous they are until it's kind of shoved in their face.
You date 27 other people at the same time. Yeah, all right, that's fair.
Yeah,
and I mean. Here's the thing. It doesn't read well for Kevin. He comes off just kind of reading like a grumpy Gus. At the same time, like, maybe it's real. This feeling that he feels. Tell me that it's real. We haven't harmonized in so long. Don't let love come just and pass us by.
I don't know the words. Okay.
It's all we have to do. It's up to me and you.
I don't know the words to this song.
To make this special love.
Is this another James Taylor song?
Forevermore. Yes, obviously this is James Taylor. Baby, you told me that you love me. And Casey and JoJo's tell me it's real.
I've heard it before, but I don't know the words. How do you know the words?
It was on Now That's What I Call Music Volume 6.
There we go.
And there was a time where I owned 3 CDs, and one of them was That's What I Call Music Volume 6.
There we go.
Through the thick and thin, through the bitter end, you promised me, baby, that you wasn't going anywhere. Yes, you did. Tell me that it's real. Good song, huh? I didn't do a good version of it, but it's
that was very good, Griffin.
What else was on that one? Fastball, that song. They made up their minds and they started picking. You remember that one? The Way. I think it was just called The Way.
Yeah.
What other ones were on there? Oh God. I actually think Rammstein's Du Hast.
On a Now That's What I Call Music.
They took all comers, man.
So this was mid-90s.
Yeah.
So you would have been, what, like an infant?
I would have been a small boy, yeah.
Are you going to read the track listing? Is that why you got up?
Yeah, but let's keep going, because we don't have time for me to read the track listing of a Now That's What I Call Music collection.
So everybody's back at the table. She has a rose to give out. Everybody there, of course, thinks they're going to get the rose, but the rose actually goes to Mikkel, and Kevin's real grumpy about it. He feels like it's a slap in the face because they're so different, and he just had a talk with her and thought it went really well.
They're up to Now That's What I Call Music 93, by the way, and that is not from the year 1993. There have been 93 collections of this. But was anybody really surprised? Mikkel, like, the connection there is so strong. I mean, I get...
They don't know that,
I know,
though.
we are omnipotent, we're omniscient, and they're not.
Yeah. I mean, they see Mikkel as a nice guy, but they don't recognize that she's, like, super into him. And I think they're just starting to figure it out on this date.
That's fair.
So then it is time for the cocktail party. And before, I will say that Drew does kind of throw some shade at Mikkel and says, oh, that rose was just like a participation award. That was like most improved.
Yeah, that's not how that works, bud.
Yeah. So it's cocktail party. The only people up for elimination are both Kevin's and Drew at this point, and one of them is going to go home.
It's okay. Up to this point, I was like, "Oh, it's Drew," because then they have another interaction where he
Drew
does the
pulls her
exact
away
same thing over and over again, and it's literally. I was cracking up because Jasmine's reactions were just like, yeah."
Drew pulls her away first, and she's kind of encouraged because she thinks, oh, he's pulling me away. Maybe he'll have some new depth to reveal. And he's like, I want to tell you about kind of how I came to be who I am. So, I was in university and I worked really hard at that. And then, I have this job, that I work really hard at. But I get to travel and I like to travel to someplace big once a year and then take some little trips. And, sometimes I'll go somewhere like crazy, like Thailand, but it's like really important to me to have that balance between traveling and not traveling and job and not job. And she starts to tell us, she's like, it feels like he is an actor.
A low to mid-level actor.
Yeah. He is performing and specifically saying things that he thinks are going to be strong sales points.
Yeah. So, not a favorable reaction to Drew. Very quickly. It was Now That's What I Call Music, Volume 3. Really quick, I swear to God.
Okay.
1999. Let me take you back to 1999. And Now That's What I Call Music, Volume 3.
Oh, so it was late 90s.
Quite possibly the greatest album ever created. Track 1 opens up with Smash Mouth's All-Star. Not a big deal. What's that coming around the bend, though? It's American Woman by Lenny Kravitz, followed by What's My Age Again, Blink-182, and Baila Mos by Enrique Iglesias.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you fucking... It's Sometimes by Britney Spears. All I have to give Backstreet Boys, Tell Me It's Real, Casey and JoJo, The Rockefeller Skank, Flatboy Slim, Nookie, Limp Bizkit. How are the first 9 tracks of your album? They're the best ever! Number 10, Special by Garbage. If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time by R. Kelly. And then some shit. Hey Leonardo by Blessed Union of Souls. The Hardest Thing by 98 Degrees. And then Out of My Head by Fastball. What the fuck is up? I got to get me this CD. I gotta find it. And I'm gonna bury it in the yard. Because that is... Are you kidding me? All of those on one?
So when you used to listen to this, would you listen to the whole thing?
I would just be screaming. It's like... How is all of this so good? Just screaming.
I've never had one of those albums before. Do you listen to the whole thing straight through? Because that seems like a really rough ride.
You have a party with all your, 12-year-old friends, and you just put it on, and you're like, I'm done. Because this was like, I don't think I had CD burning technology at this point. It was just around the bend. So this was a mixtape. This is like a hot fucking mixtape. That's the thing.
That's what I never understood about those CDs is that it was all songs that were on the radio currently.
Yes.
So you could either put the CD in or just turn on the radio.
And wait for Nookie to come on. Now,
Make a
was
phone
Nookie,
call.
So there was probably a week there where Nookie was constantly on your radio. You would tune into like the Christian pop station, and Nookie would be playing. so constant was the Nookie. Anyway, that was a huge divergence. It was just like, I had a feeling in my gut that it was the best CD ever, and I'm glad I've confirmed it.
Okay.
Let's finish this thing.
Yeah, let's finish. So this is the cocktail party where Kevin P. really steps up.
This was what I was trying to say earlier before I went on that 10-minute side trip, is that I thought, for sure Drew's coming home, and then Kevin just screws the old pooch, man.
No, I'm talking about Kevin P. Deckhand Kevin. He has a great performance.
He has a great performance. The other Kevin pooch screws.
Kevin P talks a lot about how he is guarded, and he does kind of regret it. And then he says this thing that I just found so endearing. He's like, I wish I had just met you in like a coffee shop.
I really like that.
And we just could have sat there and talked until, we ran out of things to say. And it sounds like a line, but I totally get that.
It's not a line, though, because literally nobody said it before on the show. Nobody's ever acknowledged the existence of romance outside of the walls of the show. So much so that when people get kicked off, they're like, well, love is dead. Like, it was weird to be like, I wish we'd met under normal circumstances and just dated.
Well, and couples that leave the show together talk about that a lot. Like, it feels almost ridiculous to them that they met on the show because it's such a, like, contrived situation. And they always kind of talk like, oh, yeah, it's just crazy that we met on the show. And I think he gets that, and she really appreciates that he's, like, trying to go at this like a regular relationship.
I liked Deckhand
and it was
Kevin.
a nice moment. And then they actually kissed.
And they kissed for the first time, and it was really sweet. I found myself getting verklempt about it. I was warmed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at this point you turned and kissed me.
Because I said I want to do this now.
I want to be like Kevin P.
And Rachel and I had our first kiss.
Oh.
It's true. And it feels weird to tell you this story, but after being married for, like 7, 8 years.
Because I was always like, no kissing.
Yeah, no, I got you very pregnant. But that was
I come from like a pretty woman school.
Yes.
Where I don't want to do kissing on the mouth.
only pregnancy
Yes.
with downstairs stuff.
Oh, God.
Only that's what she said the night we met. She says, I have to let you know something. It's only downstairs
I
stuff
want us
for
to
me.
be together forever. I feel really good about you. But just so you know, you will only be able to live downstairs
Yeah. In the basement apartment. That's what she called it.
of my body.
Of my body. It was really, really the garden apartment. I was like, okay. Anyway, it was nice. I see why
nice.
everybody's always talking about it.
Yeah.
Sorry I blew so much during the kid. It had been like a really long time, so I was just like, ha! It just came at you like that. Ha! And I didn't know like what the right. You have to tell me how to treat you, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because and you did immediately like don't blow like that on me. I was like, okay, well you've told me how to treat you.
Or make that noise.
That was partially breathing, partially excitement. That's just the noise I make. We have got to end this episode.
Okay. Okay. So anyway,
We're going to miss the whole debate.
So she really appreciates that he's trying to figure out if he's interested in her.
Yes.
And so then it's time for Captain Canada. And he takes the initiative, as much as it pains him, to like go up and talk to her. And starts kind of blasting her for not giving him the rose.
And he's very short where they're like, let me explain. No, let me explain. I have an explanation for that.
It's like, the rose is your currency. And it's just, it felt like you talked to me last and then you gave the rose to somebody else. And I just like, I felt upset about that. And she's just like,
she does not take it. She didn't take his shit for a second. And she also comes back with this really great point, which is like, if you think it's real between us, then you don't need a fucking rose on the group date. You don't hear what the rest of us talk about on these dates.
and she's like, you don't know what my connection is with the other guys. And regardless of whether we've had a good conversation, it doesn't mean that I haven't had that or similar with other guys. And you can't throw
And he tries to cut her off, and she's like, no, don't interrupt me. Let me finish. And she says, there are other guys that I have a connection with, some more than you. And he's like, oh, okay. And he stands up and he like goes tell the producer, like, I'm going to leave, I think.
She told him, she's like, you can't throw a hissy fit if you don't get a rose. And he's like, well, I'm jealous, and then it's, I just thought I would be open with you about how jealous I am. And she's like, everybody's opening up here, some more than others and some even more than you. And then he just kind of shuts down, like she's trying to kind of close the loop and he's not talking. Yeah. And then he gets up and walks away and tells the production staff, like, I might just leave. I might just go home tonight.
So here's the thing. In their first conversation earlier in the episode, she was like, this isn't a contest to you, right? And he's like, no. And then here he's like, roses are a currency and you didn't give me mine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay.
But then we cut away and we cut back and it's rose ceremony and he's back. And he says, yeah, I got kind of heated, but, I still hope that she gives me a rose.
She does.
And she does. Yeah, both Kevins get a rose. And Drew goes home.
Drew has a hissy of his own. His like first shot of him in the after the moment interview of him like doing his little laugh. He's like, yeah, I'm really pissed off. A lot of these guys are getting participation roses just because they're not as nervous as they used to be.
Exactly. Yeah, they're improving, and so they get roses.
And then we get a voyeur shot of him apparently talking to a producer and being like, your ratings are going to drop off after this episode. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of that is real and how much of that is like, hey, you're going home. Do you want to do like one last villain push? Yeah,
because they did ask him, do you want to be the next Bachelor? And he immediately said yes.
Here's what I will say. I think Drew's a pretty good villain, man. It's controversial to say. He's obviously a dick, right? But I think he was, for the most part, a pretty harmless dick.
Gosh, I wish Canada did a Bachelor in Paradise. I
absolutely don't want to spend any more time with him. But I think he was here for a decent amount of time. His stuff with Chris was really contrived and kind of came out of nowhere. But like, he was like a douche in an 80s movie about like skiing.
Yes, exactly.
Where he's just like, I'm a businessman and daddy buys me whatever I want. And was talking about how obviously there for the wrong reasons, like check that box. But the fact that I can't tell whether or not this last flare up was like where he's walking out, like pushing the camera away and holding up the finger. I don't know if that was real or not. And the fact that I can't tell it was real or not, it's a pretty good villain. Mm-hmm. That was a good job by Drew. I wouldn't want to hang out with you, but
he served a good purpose on the show.
And coming out of a couple seasons with some bad villains.
Yeah, some like over the top, actually dangerous villains.
Right. Or just like people that they tried to make villains like Lace. And she was a bad villain just because she's not. She's just like just kind of weirdo. It was nice. I don't know. This is, if you're new to the show, like, it's nice. This is what it's usually like.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of villain that you're not personally scared of running into on the street.
Yeah.
So that was this week.
Yeah. Episode 6. Again, I think there's 3 or 4 episodes left. I'm liking it, man. Really into it.
Yeah.
We got sent. Won't read the name. We got some nice stuff sent to us in the P.O. Box. It's P.O. Box 66639, Austin, Texas 78766.
We got a package from Canada.
We got a package from Canada from somebody, and I won't say the name, at the network where Bachelorette Canada airs, and it was some nice swag for the show, and they let it be known that they were not an official representative of the network, and that there was maybe some hard feelings maybe from a couple of people at the network that we watch the show through illegal YouTube streams. And to that I would say, like, I swear to God, guys, I would buy it. I'd pay for it. That's how we do it. We watch so many shows by buying it on iTunes and stuff like that. And I think I've checked and it's not available. We're not bad pirate people.
Well, it's just more complicated than that. You know, I'm sure they would make it available to us if they could.
Yeah.
But yeah, she sent us some nice things.
Yeah, so they sent us some nice things. That I don't know, it was really sweet. Oh, and I don't know if we put Kyle on blast, but Kyle from the show is also now in the Rose Buddies.
Tall Kyle is holding court in the Rose Buddies group.
Yeah, I don't think he's an admin or anything like that, and I think it would probably be a breach of ethics if he were one, but I will say he is probably the tallest person in the group, and so he probably has some sort of broad Facebook
I looked up
powers.
online. We were literally selling him short. He is 6'8".
I think I made a joke that he was 100 feet tall.
I thought he was 6'5", and then I looked at his bio again, and he's 6'8".
Extremely tall.
But anyway, he's in the Facebook group now.
He posted some pictures of his cats. Kyle, thank you.
He's happy to answer questions anyone might have.
Yes.
And he has his own podcast.
Oh, he does?
He does. He's just starting it.
Is it about Bachelor, or what's it about?
Well, it's like a Facebook video thing he does with his sister.
I like that.
I don't know. It's brand new. But thank you, Kyle. And thank you to everybody in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Y'all are the best.
It's a really, really great community
We
of people.
have over for like almost 6,000 people now.
It's insane.
It's wonderful.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, and we're going to see you again in a week. Till then, I'm Griffin McElroy.
I'm Rachel McElroy.
When you're ready. Whoops. When you're ready. Why did it come out like that?
What's that?
Final Rose. Stay with us on this journey of joy.
Spoiler alert!
She ends up with Soldier Boy.